Welcome everybody to GoLocal Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. A little quick news as we start off the day. First up today is going to be Eric Zuena, the CEO and founder of ZDS, the architectural firm. We're going to go to him in 1 minute. At 11 o'clock, the chairwoman of the Political Science Department at the University of Virginia, Jennifer Lawless, will join us. Lots of Biden talk, lots of Trump talk, and a peek into the VP stakes on the Democratic side. At 12 noon, we'll have Dr. Michael Fine, the former Director of Health, for his daily check-in. And at 12:30, we'll have Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee Skyping in. 1 o'clock, 2:30, Governor Raimondo will be live with her press event. Take a look at all the morning stories, an update on the governor's efforts to reopen the economy, news about the U.S. Attorney in Boston's efforts against 50 related to the college admissions scam and its implications here in Rhode Island, and some disturbing news about RIPTA canceling the summer bus trip, beach trip bus that allows kids who live in the urban corridor to get down and visit the beaches during the summer months. That is right now on the chopping block. But let's go to Eric Zuena. Eric, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Great to be here, Josh.
Okay, so here you are, Eric Zuena, start the coolest, fastest growing architectural firm.
Thank you.
You're building hotels, you're building this, you're building that, and then somewhere in December, November, this pesky little virus comes out in a city that few of us have heard of, Wuhan. Has 11 million people, and I don't know that I had heard much about it prior to this. And it comes across the country. It shuts down the U.S. economy. 30% about of Rhode Island's workforce is out of work. How has it impacted you guys at ZDS?
Well, Josh, thanks for having me. It's impacted us just like everybody else. It was certainly an unexpected bombshell that went off here in the beginning of this year. Really, end of February was when we first started to really take hold, and at first, trying to get a feel for it, it was, we see this sort of being a 2 to 3 month problem, and let's just hunker down, let's satisfy our clients that we have right now, and let's figure out how we're going to, continue to do business development, when things start picking up again, and we've quickly learned that that's not the case. Yeah.
So. Listen, you've developed, I think, a very strong reputation, both here and down the Mid-Atlantic. I don't know how many people here in Rhode Island or Southern New England know you also have a thriving office down in D.C. But part of your specialty is hospitality. How do you reinvent hospitality to deal with this?
Well, I mean, there's no silver bullet, Josh. I mean, everyone's looking at it from with different optics, and it's really when the market sectors really come into play. It's who's your audience, who are the people you're catering to, what's your luxury level, and and what's your cash flow. The cash flow is going to be everyone's problem in 12 months from now. So, and that's no different in hospitality business. We are looking at spaces and looking at projects a little bit different, very differently on the hotel front and on the restaurant front. But what's interesting is hotels, casinos haven't really come back online yet, right? So we're watching all this change in the restaurant sector, and sort of like this roll up your sleeves, very like a tons of mental toughness, tons of ingenuity, and that really is what's triggering our huddles in our office about what to expect when we start moving into these hospitality projects again. We have a couple of hotels that are actively under construction and actively in design, but they're not up in front problems that we're seeing in the restaurant core in our business now. So we're learning a lot at a smaller scale and applying it at a larger scale on all facets of business. It's really interesting time.
Yeah, I bet. Are hotels going to look like motels? In other words, I don't want to go into the lobby and check in. I'd rather get a code sent to my phone, drive up and park in front of my room, press in the code and walk in, wash my hands, and I've made it in safely.
Yeah, Josh, I'll tell you, it's so interesting. There is a group that we work with that actually takes that motel product and converts it to a boutique upscale hotel, and that's a group that we're currently working with. And you're absolutely right. It's how little can I interact with people? How many surfaces? How little? What's the least amount of surfaces I can touch from here to my room? And then once I get in my room, don't you dare come in my room and make my bed without me knowing. Don't do any of those things anymore. That really reduces, it reduces overhead because your housekeeping bills are going to go down, right? But it also, it really changes the whole dynamic for operators because now people want choices. For instance, you say you want to drive up to your room and just walk in, but if someone does want that lobby or restaurant experience, it starts as soon as you arrive at the hotel. Are you going to let that bellhop take your luggage? Maybe not. Maybe not. Are you going to check in at the reception desk? Maybe not. So you want choices depending upon who you are and depending on your comfort level, depending on your age, depending on your underlying symptoms, depending on all these factors, you want choices because there are still the millennial age audience for some of these mid-scale, the co-work, the co-live, the co-this, the co-that, right? That product, you still have an audience there that is not so concerned about this because you and I, you might have a couple of years on me, but you and I are not that age group. We're not going to those hotels, but there's still an audience there's still a demographic there that will get back to spending and get back to living probably sooner than you and I.
Yeah, I'm not body surfing at any point, crowd surfing at any point in the near future. Let's talk about your interaction. You work with, a range of different hotel groups. You've got the Beatrice going right now down in downtown Providence. Have you, just in the development of the Beatrice or any other properties, have you had to rethink and readjust just during the past 3 months? Yes,
absolutely. It's been very fluid at the Beatrice about what can we do to make this a better experience for our guests. We're talking, we don't have our backs up against the wall on that one. It's only 47 rooms. It's a very boutique experience. We don't have a lot of people in there. It's more of an upscale, more exclusive product. There were opportunities right in our face as soon as we all got into the right mindset. Ownership and design team and contractor all working together to try to identify what can we do to just tweak. We don't want to ruin schedule. We don't want to jeopardize budget. But what can we do to just tweak things to be more receptive to what's happening around us? And I would just say to everyone, embrace any outdoor space you possibly have next to your facility, around your facility, or even a block away. Get that outdoor space to be the most vibrant thing. We're lucky enough to have our calendar year on our side. If you're trying to make money today, you got to get that outdoor experience to be super vibrant and super, and make it have landscape, make it a little bit more personal, make it a little bit more intimate. Don't just let it be a sea of tables under a tent. Make it be an experience that people can remember. And that's a big one. That's a big one.
Are we going to be using,
what a big one.
Are we going to be using those outdoor decks with heaters all the way into January and February at some restaurants?
Yeah. Listen, Josh, no no crystal ball on my side. We're talking about the next 6 months, right? But 8 months, 9 months, 12 months, we have other problems that we haven't even scratched the surface yet that this will still be affecting us, no doubt.
Let's talk about office space. Listen, I make the argument that the smartest companies who have the most data have figured out two things immediately. Google, Twitter, Facebook, no company has more data than those companies, maybe Amazon. And what have they decided? They've decided they're sending all their workers home. And in some cases, in Facebook's example, they're saying 50% of their workforce may never come back to the office. What's the implications of that, and how are you helping clients think about the new office environment?
Well, I guess we're setting an example, here in real time in our office. We just moved to a new space. It's a much bigger space than where we were just over your head on Weybosset Street. We have about 6,000 square feet here. We've extended our studio space, multiple conference rooms, large library, and only a third of our staff is working here at one time. So we're doing don't forget, Josh, we're in the design business, right? The collaboration, the opportunities of sort of pointing to something on a wall or pointing to something on a computer screen or just drawing something on a napkin in front of another colleague is incredibly valuable to us. So the collaboration, it's actually made our job very, very hard. We're small enough where we don't have an operations director, but that's my background. So getting the right teams in the room at the right time to talk about specific projects is really what I spend a lot of time doing now. And then how to get that message as a team to a client and in front of the client. And remember, we're talking about not just buildings and architecture, but we're talking about fabrics of a pillow and fabrics of a chair that people want to touch. It's a very tactile thing. So it's been a real challenge for us. So, we're not Google by any means, but, the days of everyone just showing up to work and jumping into an open workspace and touching and talking to everyone and everything, I think is going to be. Well, we all know it's not going to happen again. I think it's something that's changing as we speak.
Is plexiglass and vinyl the new materials of the future? To go back to 1968.
I mean, I see we obviously have clients here in the state. We have bars that are trying to open for the summertime. We have plexiglass getting installed, parallel with the bar front, so that way there's separation between the guest and the bartender. But we're asking the questions of what happens when you have people in your. We just minimize capacity. Yeah, but you don't restrict where people are walking, so you do have a real problem there. So that's just one example. But I mean, it's right at the front door, and you touch the door handle. There was a memo that got put out in Massachusetts that talked about what needed to happen in order to open. They were talking about putting troughs in the end vestibule, people to walk before they even enter the restaurant.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a whole new world. Eric, I'll give you the last word. What's your thought about what the immediate future is?
Immediate future is that we're all going to have to pay real close attention to what we're doing and what we're doing as a business. So I think managing cash flow is going to be very important for everyone in the hospitality space. I'm all tuned in for the first of the month to see what hotels and casinos do in upcoming weeks. That's going to be a real critical telltale sign for us.
Eric, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully we can get you back maybe in a month or two and get an update. You know the space as well as anyone, certainly in New England. For everybody else, we'll be back 1 o'clock. Chair of the Political Science Department, Jennifer Lawless from the University of Virginia. 12 noon, Dr. Michael Fine, former Director of Health. At 12:30, Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee talking about some small business initiatives. And at 2:30, we will run the governor live here on GoLocal. Stay tuned for more updates. Thanks so much to Eric Zuena. Everybody else, please stay safe.
Thank you, Josh.